In the first part of multiplying decimals, we have seen how to multiply a decimal by a whole number. In this part, we will see how to multiply a decimal by a decimal number. Let's look at this example. 1.4 multiplied by 0.3. We don't know yet how to do the multiplication of decimal numbers, but we do know how to multiply two fractions. So let's convert these decimals to fractions, and it would be 14 over 10 multiplied by 3 over 10. We know that we have to multiply the numerators and the denominators, so the product is 42 over 100. When you convert 42 over 100 back to a decimal number, it would be 0.42. So the answer is 0.42. Every time we don't need to do this conversion to fractions and then do the multiplication. Instead, we can learn some steps that we can follow and multiply the decimal numbers. The first step is to ignore the decimal point and multiply normally. That means forget that there is any decimal point and multiply 14 and 3. So 14 multiplied by 3 would be 42. In the next step, we put the decimal point in the product, in the answer. Now how do we do that? We count the decimal places in the two numbers that we multiplied, and we make sure that the product has as many decimal places as the two original numbers. That means in the example above, in the first number 1.4, there is one decimal place. In the second number 0.3, that number also has one decimal place. So 1 and 1, that means you have two decimal places in total. So your product should have two decimal places. So if you start from the right, then you skip 2, then skip 4, and then write the decimal point. That's why your answer is 0.42. Now how does it work? When you ignore the decimal point, you are actually moving the decimal point to the right. That means in case of 1.4, you moved the decimal point to the right and you made it 14. In case of 0.3, you did the same thing. You moved the decimal point to the right, and that's why you got 3. Now when you multiply these two numbers, since you moved the decimal point to the right twice, in the answer you should move it to the left twice. So the answer, which is 42 here, in case of 42, let's move the decimal point to the left 2 times, and then you get the answer as 0.42. This is how it works. So in the first step, you moved the decimal point to the right to get rid of it. Now in the second step, you have to move the same number of times the decimal point to the left to undo what you did in the first step. So let's use these steps and solve some more problems. The first one is 5.32 multiplied by 1.2. Let's ignore the decimal points. So we multiply 532 by 12. 12 2s are 24. So we write down 4. 2 is carried over. 12 3s are 36. 36 plus 2 equals 38. So we write down 8. 3 is carried over. 12 5s are 60. 60 plus 3 equals 63. So the product is 6384. The numbers that we multiplied, 5.32 has 2 decimal places and 1.2 has 1 decimal place. So 2 plus 1, we should have 3 decimal places in the answer. So if you start from the right, let's hop over 3 digits. So let's cross 4, 8 and 3 and write the decimal point. So the answer is 6.384. The next one is 0.602 multiplied by 1.75. Ignore the decimal points. Multiply 602 by 175. First we multiply by 5. 5 2s are 10. We write down 0. 1 is carried over. 5 zeros are 0. 0 plus 1 equals 1. So we write down 1. 6 5s are 30. Write down 30. The next step is to multiply by 7. 7 is at tens place. So we write 1 0 first and then we multiply. 7 2s are 14. So we write down 4. 1 is carried over. 7 zeros are 0 plus 1 equals 1. 7 6 are 42. The next step is to multiply by 1. But 1 is at hundreds place, so write down 2 zeros first and then multiply. 1 multiplied by 602 equals 602. So we write down 602. Let's add these three numbers. 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. 1 plus 4 plus 0 equals 5. 0 plus 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Now let's write the decimal point in the product. The first number that we multiplied has 3 decimal places. The second one has 2 decimal places. So our answer should have 5 decimal places. Let's start from the right and hop over 5 digits. So we cross 0, 5, 3, 5 and 0 and write the decimal point. So the answer is 1.05350.